Are expected to have counselling sessions at the school on Monday. Can they deal with this traumatic experience and return to school where their fellow schoolmates have died? To discuss this subject, I'm joined in studio now by Counselling Psychologist Jeremy Bayer. Jeremy, thanks a lot for joining us on Newsnight this evening.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's a tragic incident. One may say that children should never ever be confronted with such, where they have to lose their schoolmates during school hours. I mean, the kids range from between the ages of 13 to 18. Just talk to us about the effects, really, of such an incident on, number one, the mental development of a child, but number two, how do they then carry on and go to the very same school where that incident actually happened?
Yeah, look, I've seen that they're going to the school for counselling. My suggestion is that they've got to have a bit of a plan B, because one of the symptoms when this happens is school refusal, or trying to avoid the place where the incident happened, of course. So there's got to be either there or a hospital or a private practice. They can't just have that as the only place where the counselling needs to happen. They need to think out the box a bit with that. And in terms of school development, when it comes to a trauma, there's numerous factors involved here. Number one, at this stage, it's going to be shock and denial, and those are typical symptoms. But the most important thing at this stage is support. Support from home, not coming up with a great sentence or anything like that, but just knowing that your child is in a safe, containing environment. Other than that, you might see symptoms like I said, school refusal, nightmares, intrusive recollections of the event, social withdrawal, loss of interest in activities they used to enjoy, academic deterioration.
Is that now over a period of time, or is that immediate? Because I could imagine that immediately a child is faced with shock, denial, and obviously that fear that you mentioned of actually going back to the very same traumatic place. So then when you're speaking about how perhaps they need to look at finding a different space to actually hold these counselling sessions, that's a very valid point. When you're talking about withdrawal, is that over a specific period of time? How long does it take before one realizes that actually my child is severely suffering from the trauma and the incident that took place at the school?
Period of time. So right now it's the shock symptoms. So it's the shock, the denial, even anger, sadness. Those are typical symptoms now because it's grieving and it's trauma. So you'll see grief symptoms and trauma symptoms. So right now you won't really see the social withdrawal now. That over a period of time, I'd say. So perhaps after a month or 2 months, that kind of thing. But the thing that can exacerbate it are mitigating factors. Of course, the nature of the death. If you were close to the deceased, if there were closure issues, if you as a person have mental illness and now there's this incident toppled with what's just happened. So those are typical symptoms. With death like this, there's always mitigating factors. And so that's why the support is so crucial from family. That's why, in terms of interventions here, it takes a village. Family, school, and counselling, and the community as a whole.
And what would you say to those individuals? Because you always hear it, that children are resilient. It's always that much anticipated said, children are resilient, they'll get over it, they just need a little bit of time, they bounce back, right? We like saying kids bounce back. But in such an incident where there was no chance to say goodbye, and some of those kids, I mean 23 of them that are actually seriously injured, find themselves being right there. So maybe the question will be the guilt of, it could have been me, but it's not me, I survived this. How then do you respond to such statements?
Yeah, so that's where the counselling is crucial, because a typical symptom of trauma is that kind of guilt. So that's where the parents need to come in and allow their children to express feelings. So you used a phrase there, sort of children are resilient. But to enable resilience, you have to allow yourself to express your feelings, because if you keep it in all the time and bottle it all up, that can result in burnout and depression. So don't use cliches like at least, or put it into perspective, or toughen up, or lighten up. That's a recipe for disaster. So yes, children are resilient, but there are exceptional circumstances, that being this one. And
would guilt be then a mitigating factor when it comes to how children are able to process the situation? Because one really is about processing and healing and dealing with the incident.
Exactly.
But looking at the fact that actually, if I'd just been a few steps behind or a few steps ahead of these individuals, it could have been me. From a 13-year-old's perspective, that's an incredible amount of responsibility to take on.
That's a credible burden, which is why perhaps even in the therapy, the parents should be in the therapy even. Because they might lean on the parents a lot for that, and at home as well. Remember, counselling is only an hour a week. So in trauma, like I said, it takes a village, and that phrase is specifically crucial here. So that phrase is very important. And in the school, in terms of their management of this, them realizing that there might be a little bit of absenteeism from these children initially. In other words, allowing these symptoms to happen. I get that. But the most important thing is that is for the parents to allow the children to grieve and to let counselling take place. Maybe not now, because if you do it too soon, you could re-traumatize the child. So give it a few days and then only counselling.
For how long?
Generally, from my experience, give it a week, 4 days to a week. But right now, it's too fresh, it's too raw. The most important, often in a situation like this, people will say, what do I say to someone who's grieving? I don't know what to say. That's not the key factor. The key factor is creating a safe, containing environment, listening to your child, not trying to fix or cheer them up. Don't try and minimize or compare their issue. The most important thing is that safe, containing environment and guiding from a place of love.
Well, it definitely takes a village, as you were saying, Jeremy. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Faith.
Really